Hey guys, what's up? Excoundrel here, and if you are keen viewers, as 5,000 of you already have been, you will have seen this video before. Now, I have edited it, I have added some extra stuff, I've changed the way I've talked about some stuff, and it's for this reason. Now, every video I do usually has a few mistakes in it. I don't script my videos. What I do is I build the video in Premiere Pro first. I have like a vision in my mind about what I want to create with the video, and then I ad-lib the video generally. So I will talk over the video as if I was commentating on a live game of Vainglory. I have an idea of what I want to say, but the way that I say it and the words that I use generally are not scripted. I've had a few scripted videos, and when I say scripted, I mean I've had bullet points to talk about, and that includes the things like how to climb solo queue. But with things like this video, I generally do it on a improvisational basis, as in I will talk about things in a separate way every time I record a different set of audio. No two audio pieces I record for a video are the same. Now, the video did have a mistake. I listed Alpha as a counter to CP Sky. It was a mistake I made when creating the video, and when I was ad-libbing, I didn't think much of it. I was just talking as the video went along, and therefore didn't really make the connection in my brain. Half of the comments I got, I mean, well, more like 30% were CP Alpha is bad into CP Sky, and I know that. That's obvious, you know, when you think about it. But when I did the video, I didn't think about it because I just do it as an ad-lib when I created the video. So I made a mistake with creating the video. And I don't want to leave it up there when the comments like that are detracting from what the video is supposed to do. It makes me sad, and I'm sure like it doesn't make you guys have faith in me as a YouTuber if I leave it up like that. So I edited it to make it better, basically. So let's start again from square one. Here we go. So, counterpicks. How do they work? I know a lot of you will be sitting there thinking, I kind of understand how to counterpick, but I don't know why. I just get it from lists, and I kind of want to understand the real reasons behind why counterpicks work. Well, to get the real idea behind counterpicks, you have to understand your hero first. Let's take an example of Taka. Every hero has strengths and weaknesses. Let's take the example of Taka. He has a free reflex block with Chitin. He's got high burst damage. He has stealth, which is a positive. He's got an instantaneous gap closer with X Retsu. He's very mobile, and he can apply mortal wounds. But he does have drawbacks. He's shut down by heavy shielding or by heavy armor. He's very squishy, very reliant on his mobility, so if you can shut that down, it makes him weaker. He's really bad at sustained damage and is very vulnerable in the early game, especially pre-level 6. So if you look at his strengths, we can then ascertain as to what he's good against. He's good against heroes that would struggle with someone that can close the gap very quickly. Good against heroes that don't deal with burst damage very well, like Celeste and Sky. And then his weaknesses come into the sort of areas that we talked about. He is weak against someone like Lyra because her Bright Bulwark shuts down her mobility, and the heal helps keep a target alive through the sustain. Koshka can punish him early game, for instance. Those are just two examples of Taka's good picks and Taka's bad picks. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples this game as to good picks and bad picks with heroes, just to help you understand the reasoning behind them, and then you can sort of make your own decisions. I will do a video in the future about full heroes and their matchups, but this is just a very short one to get your understanding at a basic level. So let's look at CP Taka. The Shattered Glass represents crystal power at the top of the screen. He's good against squishy targets that he can get onto easily, and sort of don't deal with a heavy gap closer and burst damage very well. All of which you can see on the left there, likes of Celeste and Samuel and Sky, like we already talked about. He's bad against anybody that will out-duel him on a melee basis. So Koshka, Glaive, Alpha, for instance. There was specific interactions with the likes of Petal, who can reveal his stealth with the Munions. Blackfeather, a very good duelist. Rona, a very good duelist. You can see all of those would be good against Taka. We talked about Lyra, the Bright Bulwark, preventing him from getting his mobility, which he relies on to be good. Let's have a look at CP Sky now, and if you knew the last video, I did have a matchup wrong here, so I have changed it this time round. Sky is very good at kiting targets with her Frostburn, for instance, when she pulls that on her CP path, but she's not very good at burst damage and dealing with people that can keep up with her. So Sky's pretty good against the likes of these immobile targets. Finn soaks up forward barrages, she can kite Grace, she can kite Rhyme, very good at kiting Catherine because her forward barrage doesn't proc the Storm Shield either. She's also pretty good at diving onto the back line and dealing with the likes of Scarf and Adagio, both very immobile as well. But she's bad against anybody that can deal burst damage to her and stick to her. Munions will slow her down and tank forward barrage. That's a specific interaction with Skye, and that means that, Peto, unless you're getting dove by Skye, remains pretty safe versus her. Taka and Idris can stick to her. Arden's Gauntlet specifically can shut down her Suri Strike mobility unless a reflex block comes out, so the Gauntlet itself is a good way of locking Skye down and trying to make her easily focused by your team. And Koshka and Ozo can put pressure on her in the early game and have the gap closing ability to keep up with her as well. So you can see that I'm talking about the very basic concepts of the heroes and then comparing those concepts to other positives and negatives of other heroes to ascertain the counters. So the counters of Skye is that she's a squishy target. She relies on her mobility, so if anyone can keep up with her and deal damage to her, it immediately makes her weaker. But she's very good against kiting people because of Suri Strike and the fact that she will build Frostburn and forward barrage slows. So those are good and bad aspects of Skye which can be countered by other heroes. Let's take an example of Glaive now. He's very, very good against squishy targets, and he's good at repositioning hyper carries, but he's actually not as good at being a melee duelist compared to other heroes in the game. So Glaive here is pretty good against the likes of Adagio because he's so immobile, he can knock him out of his ultimate with the afterburn. He's good against Kestrel because she's really, really bad if repositioned, so if you can catch a Kestrel out before she slips into active camo, you can blow her up very quickly. He can out-duel Taka, and the burst damage is not so good against him because Glaive will naturally want to build tanky, unlike Skye, who doesn't want to build resistances because it takes away from the fact that she needs CP items to function. But Glaive is bad against the likes of Rhyme, Rona, Cruel, Blackfeather because they will all out-duel him usually on a 1v1 basis, especially if it's even or ahead. If Glaive gets ahead of any of these heroes, obviously he can burst them. Glaive's very good at bursting a hero. But once some armor comes down, these heroes will generally out-duel him. And then you have the specific interactions of Finn, not affected by Afterburn. Jewel, obviously going to beat him up in a 1v1 because of the power of Jewel's Thunderstrike. And Lance, very good at CCing a Glaive with the likes of Githyan Waller and Impale after he's used an Afterburn, because Glaive is vulnerable after he's used an offensive Afterburn. So what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is we're looking at the hero and we're looking to assess the hero's basic qualities. All of these basic qualities can be sectioned into various, quadrants. What's the mobility of a hero like? What is their late or early game spike? Do they need 3 items? Do they need 1 item to become online? Do they need certain levels to get online? For instance, level 8 for Celeste or level 2 for Samuel. What's their survivability like? What's their base health? What's their defensive itemization? Do they have any escape tools? And how do they deal damage? Are they a skill shot based hero? Classically not so good against highly mobile heroes. Are they basic attack, very good single focus? Are they at a ranged hero? Do they deal their damage up close? Are they sustain or burst, or are they single target or splash? All of these things come in to define a hero, and it helps you understand what makes them good. For instance, a squishy hero with a skill shot based form of damage like Celeste is going to be bad against Taka, because Taka can chitin over her core collapse, so that negates her CC. He can dodge most of her heliogenesis, and he can close the gap onto her very quickly. That's an instance of a counterpick in that scenario. Let's have a look at Ringo. He has both good and bad qualities, and you can see them on your screen. Very, very good in the mid-game. He's got high damage output, good range for a weapon power carry, and the movement speed helps him with chasing and kiting. But his bad qualities are the fact he's got very little escape. The movement speed is the only thing that helps him kite. He's a very squishy target. He's very single target focused, especially his weapon power build path. Obviously, the Hellfire Brew can be AoE, but is primarily a single target focused ability. And Atlas Pauldrons shuts him down pretty hard. So those are examples of heroes that he is good and bad against. He's bad against Taka and Koshka because they can close the gap on him so quickly and out-damage him in a burst scenario. Glaive can reposition him because he's not very good at escaping Glaive's Afterburn. He is vulnerable to the CC of Lance. But he outranges Vox. He's better than Vox in the mid-game. He can chase down a Celeste very easily and burst her. He's very good at kiting Rhyme and Rona because they don't have instant gap closers. They require time to travel to get to Ringo, giving him time to react. So if you see a Rhyme run at you, you can always Achilles shot him and run away and kite with your twirling silver. The same with Rona. You can't do that against Attacker because X-Retsu closes the gap instantaneously. So what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is understanding the core concepts of a hero. Understanding what makes a hero good and bad. We're talking about, you know, like I said, those 4 concepts. Go back and look at that Celeste graphic with the concepts of a hero and think about your favorite hero and why they're good or not, and their qualities and their weaknesses. And then that helps you figure out what's a counter to them and potentially what you could ban or play into them if that hero gets picked. Another thing about heroes is that I'm going to do a video on this specifically. Compositions weigh a huge amount into whether a counter is effective or not. If I have a Sky and a Lyra locked in, Taka is not as effective as if the Lyra wasn't locked in, because if I X-Retsu onto the Sky and Bright Bulwark comes down, I actually become a good target for Sky to focus. So compositions weigh so heavily into how a counterpick functions, and I think that's something that you should really take away from this video. It's not just about hero versus hero matchups, it's also about how the composition helps the counters and how a composition can alleviate counters as well. I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry for the re-upload again. Listen to the start of the video if you wonder why I re-uploaded it, and I'll see you soon.